Trump should be member of society. The only place for him is still by D.
Thank you, President Trump.
Biden brain is once again in the fog.
Oh, no.
Hunter Biden should be jailed like a dog.
Oh, no. Says Stormy Daniel, I said hello.
It's time for you nap, Sleepy Joe.
You mean the nap you took at your trial?
Leave me alone, I'm not a child.
The jumpsuit you'll be wearing soon should match your hair. Where you headed, you better have clean underwear.
You failed on border control and the economy. Again, you're trying to steal this election away from me.
I get rid of more student debt.
I promise to be an ally for that.
You don't even have an ally in your wife.
You don't have much time left in life. You're brain on vacation, man.
Your hair looks like it's made of sand.
Sleepy Joe, you're out of time.
Better than your endless wine.
Your brain on vacation, man.
Your hair looks like it's made of sand.
Sleepy Joe, you're out of time.
Better than your endless wine. I'm gonna win you orange clown.
Election night, you're going down. There's one reason why I say this stuff. Because I had enough.
And by the way,
I've had enough.
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 I've had enough. I've had enough.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Are you ready?
They say that America is divided politically, and we kind of agree. There's the dumb, and then there's us. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that too harsh for the little snowflakes? This is Right, Left, and Center. This is Right, Left, and Center. No matter what's going on in today's news, politics, social, environment, culture, we're talking about it unabashedly. Real, raw, direct, and funny. Let's rock. This is Right, Left, and Center. And this is your host, Will Jackson.
Oh, my Lanta. I know y'all missed that. First, I'm going to say I hope you got yours, because I got mine. And it tastes so good. Also, if you hear a lot of banging in the background, you're going to hear fireworks. Yes, I decided to wait until the 4th of July. Why? Because we're going to talk about some democracy. I'm going to play a little bit of Harry Dunn, the officer who is speaking out. Also going to talk about SCOTUS, Clarence Thomas, Uncle Tom ass. We're going to talk about Stormy Daniels. See, folks, I'm going to try not to get on my soapbox because everybody knows I like to do that. But I got a problem, as well as everyone in the United States has the same problem. And that same problem is Trump and the six conservative far right Supreme Court justices. I don't understand these jurors. I just don't. Now, there's been 3 dissents, which we'll get into those. I'll read those. And they basically handed this cat a blank check to the point where his sentencing that was scheduled for July 11th has been pushed back to September 18th. Why is that? Well, the reason why is because he's going to ask the Supreme Court, who will more than likely take up the case, and say that conviction should be thrown out based upon the Supreme Court ruling. Now, he was in the office at the time. And so if he says, Article 2, I was acting in behest of my official duties of the presidency of the United States, therefore I ask that SCOTUS throws out the conviction. Now, Judge Merchan hasn't released anything on it except for the rescheduling date. The prosecutors didn't submit a brief on sentencing guidelines. I mean, what's it going to take? What is it going to take to put these jackwagons back in place? What is it going to take? Let me let's look at this dissent. And just so you know, before I read this, I did a little research on whether or not these judges can be held accountable, and we'll get into that. But I was alarmed about this ruling, just like every other American. So here's the ruling. And I'll get to the dissents. I haven't forgot about that. A federal grand jury indicted former President Donald J. Trump on 4 counts of conduct that occurred during the presidency following the November 2020 election. The indictment alleged that after losing the election, Trump conspired to overturn by spreading not only false and falsifying of the election results, certifying of the election results. Trump moved to dismiss the indictment based on presidential immunity, arguing that the president has absolute immunity from criminal prosecution for actions performed within indictments alleged fell within the core of the official duties. The District of Court denied Trump's motion to dismiss, holding the former president, holding that former presidents do not possess federal criminal immunity in any acts. The D.C. Circuit Court affirmed both the district and the D.C. Circuit declined to decide whether or not the indictment conducted involved official acts. Now, under the Constitution, there's a structure of separations of power, a nature where the presidential power entitles a former president to absolute immunity from prosecution for actions within the exclusive immunity of prosecution for all of his official acts. There is no immunity for unofficial acts. And this is what Roberts had basically said. This case, in this case, basically, the first criminal prosecution of our nation's history, a former president for actions taken during the presidency. Now, he goes on to say, determining whether and under what circumstances such prosecutions may proceed requires careful assessment of the scope of the presidential power under the Constitution. The nature of the presidential power requires that a former president have some immunity from criminal prosecutions for official acts during his tenure in office. At least the president's exercise of core constitutional powers, this immunity must be absolute, and remaining official actions he has entitled to at least presumptive immunity. That is the beginning of 119 pages of this. Okay, so here's my problem. Trump wants to throw out, and by the way, the 6 Supreme Court justices, including Mr. Uncle Tom Thomas, Justice Thomas, don't seem to understand what they've just done. All the legal scholars have said they don't understand what they've done. This is a Trump-appointed Supreme Court. What does that mean for you and me? I'll get to that. Excuse me. The Trump Supreme Court, and I say it again, the Trump Supreme Court, the 6 justices, basically gave Trump a get out of jail free card. This is why he's appealing his conviction in New York. And I guarantee you the justices are going to overturn that conviction. See, if they don't, then I'm going to applaud. But I don't believe that they're going to do it. And here's the reason why. Because they're going to say that during his presidency, anything he has done and said in the Oval Office between his attorney or anybody on his staff is deemed an official act under Article 2. Any conversation he had with his Secretary of State, his attorney, or whoever was in the White House in the Oval Office, he is immune. He's immune. So they're going to turn around and throw it out, I believe. This is ridiculous. This is beyond ridiculous. This is some oh my Lantis type shit. So Judge Ketanji Brown and the other liberals on the court basically came out and said, you know what? This is a travesty. Along with legal scholars, this is a travesty. This should have never happened. No president is above the law. No president should have immunity. No president should not be able to use Article 2 and say it was a part of presidential duties. So with that ruling, can President Joe Biden send a SEAL Team 6 out or send the FBI out to kill Donald Trump? Can it work that way? It's under official act. Can President Joe Biden direct the arrest and imprisonment of Donald Trump because he's a threat to democracy, threat to national security? And we know why he's a threat. Can President Joe Biden do that? According to Judge Roberts and the rest of them knuckleheads on the Supreme Court, he can. He can do it under official acts. Listen to President Joe Biden after the ruling.
The presidency is the most powerful office in the world. It's an office that not only tests your judgment, perhaps even more importantly, it's an office that tests your character. Because you not only face moments when you need the courage to exercise the full power of the presidency, you also face moments where you need the wisdom to respect the limits of the power of the office of the presidency. This nation was founded on the principle that there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law, not even the President of the United States. With today's Supreme Court decision on presidential immunity, that fundamentally changed. For all practical purposes, today's decision almost certainly means that there are virtually no limits on what a president can do. This is a fundamentally new principle, and it's a dangerous precedent, because the power of the office will no longer be constrained by the law, even including the Supreme Court of the United States. The only limits will be self-imposed by the president alone. This decision today has continued the court's attack in recent years on a wide range of long-established legal principles in our nation, from gutting voting rights and civil rights, to taking away a woman's right to choose, to today's decision that undermines the rule of law of this nation. Nearly 4 years ago, my predecessor sent a violent mob to the U.S. Capitol to stop the peaceful transfer of power. We all saw it with our own eyes. We sat there and watched it happen that day. Attack on the police, the ransacking at the Capitol, a mob literally hunting down the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, gallows erected to hang the Vice President, Mike Pence. I think it's fair to say it's one of the darkest days in the history of America. Now the man who sent that mob to the U.S. Capitol is facing potential criminal conviction for what happened that day. And the American people deserve to have an answer in the courts before the upcoming election. The public has a right to know the answer about what happened on January 6th before they are asked to vote again this year. Now, because of today's decision, that is highly, highly unlikely. It's a terrible disservice to the people of this nation. So now the American people have to do what the courts should have been willing to do, but will not. The American people have to render a judgment about Donald Trump's behavior. The American people must decide whether Donald Trump's assault on our democracy on January 6th makes him unfit for public office in the highest office in the land. The American people must decide if Trump's embrace of violence to preserve his power is acceptable. Perhaps most importantly, the American people must decide if they want to entrust the president once again, the presidency, to Donald Trump, now knowing he'll be even more emboldened to do whatever he pleases whenever he wants to do it. You know, at the outset of our nation, it was the character of George Washington, our first president, to define the presidency. He believed power was limited, not absolute. And that power always resides with the people, always. Now, over 200 years later, with today's Supreme Court decision, once again, it will depend on the character of the men and women who hold that presidency that are going to define the limits of the power of the presidency, because the law will no longer do it. I know I will respect the limits of the presidential powers I have for 3.5 years, but any president, including Donald Trump, will now be free to ignore the law. I concur with Justice Sotomayor's dissent today. Here's what she said. She said, in every use of official power, the president is now a king above the law. With fear for our democracy, I dissent. End of quote. So should the American people dissent. I dissent. May God bless you all, and may God help preserve our democracy. Thank you. May God protect our children.
And there you have it. This happened on Monday. This happened on Monday. And so here's another question. Can President Joe Biden, even though he will respect the office of the presidency, would he or can he, under official acts, because of the radical right of SCOTUS, can he order the assassination or the imprisonment of these judges? Because, see, I say no, and that's based upon the law. So there's a conflict. See, what is that? 1978, Stump versus Sparkman. And I'll quote it directly. Judges have absolute immunity from liability as long as they are performing a judicial act that is not a clear absence of jurisdiction or jurisdiction. Imagine that. And I can say, or the president can say, Roe versus Wade, you were not acting fundamentally within the law, over 50-year precedent. And let's leave in the president immunity piece, because I'm going to have y'all all hanging from the gallows. More after this.
Join Right, Left, and Center Supporters Club and become part of our community by going to www.speaker.com and select for supporters and receive exclusive content and live shows. Join Will Jackson on Speaker.com every week for real and raw talk.
Have you been looking for a podcast that takes you beyond the headlines? A show that challenges you. A show that's real, raw, and unapologetic. Then you've found your new home. Right, Left, and Center. Right, Left, and Center. News, the environment, immigration, politics, the criminal justice system, and everything in between. Join Will Jackson every week, your personal guide to understand the week's news, the world, and how America shapes it. Listen everywhere podcasts are available. You're listening to Left, Right, and Center, your audio guide to help you understand the week's news, the world, and how America shapes it. Now, back to your host, Will Jackson.
It's the DJT, getting it on. The Teflon Don on the White House lawn. Against wimps like you, I'll win a third term. Your campaign's like your family. Crash and burn. Looting and violence will keep the MAGA movement quiet. Resist me? That's a riot. Why'd you step behind the gym? I'll be standing by. See how tough you are against the 45. I should've hoped for your whole party. Bigger than the one I blew through, cause I'm so money. Then I go and bone on Milani. I'm gonna smash you, Joe. Like China. I've got all the best cognition with all the top grammar. I'm not a little girl's shoulders, so you can't touch this MC stammer. You're a disaster inciting hysteria. You say I'm selling hate in America, you're selling hate in America. Like with Hillary, the people aren't swayed. Just Barack's shadow, and I don't really like the shade.
The pain of losing loved ones is something I have seen. So I know how you must have felt when they killed Jeffrey Epstein. Rap lyrics just ain't for you. You should stick love letters for Kim Jong-un. You're a wrestling heel. Nothing about you's real. Bitch, you didn't even really write the art of the deal. But you tapped into the rage of red Mad Hatters. Well, let me tell you, Trump, all lives matter. I don't want to defund no police. I picked a DA for my VP. I'm not a communist. I'm not a socialist. I'm just an old ass man with some decency. Wrong. No matter what you try to say, global warming ain't cancer. You pulled out a parachute, should have pulled out a Stormy Daniels. I ain't sleepy, I'm tired of you, Donald Trump. You're fired.
The only thing getting fired on my watch is tear gas from law enforcement. I'll keep America great. You'll unleash Antifa and keep America like Portland. Ain't nothing gonna beat me. No person, woman, man, camera, TV. They impeached me. I still walked out of D.C. looking peachy. You got the sloppy Joe, but no beef. The only white privilege I see are those teeth. Maybe teach your son a thing or two about life. Like there's no hunting season for your dead brother's wife. You and your mask and your Knight Rider shades are getting revoked like your Roe versus Wade. There's no blue wave. Forget it, not coming. Like I tell criminals, Joe, stop running.
Was Breonna Taylor running? You dog whistling fool. I think your daddy would finally be proud of you. He was a racist asshole too.
Что ты делал?
What's this malarkey?
Oh, ебать!
Keep at it and you'll end up in jail, hoss. I'll take you down like a mule and you're a mailbox. From all your wives to the SATs, everything you ever did, you just had to cheat. Cause you're too insecure to even look like a loser. You're the worst damn Republican since Herbert Hoover. When you scooped up a sycophantic homophobe who's became the Constitution's domestic abuser. 200,000 deaths lying at your door. You think they're suckers like McCain in the Marine Corps. Sometimes I can't tell for which side you're rooting. When we go high, you go down on poop. Truth is, you're scared to lose. You got nothing in the bank that I owe you. You're white about balance like a bitch. But the only thing that's rigged is taxes for the rich. You're a freeloader. Change your name to Trump. My campaign ramping up. You can't get down to rape. I'm pulling away faster than your wife's hand. For the love of democracy, will you shut up, man?
Hold on. Hold on. Yo. Let her relay the
I thought that was funny. I ran across that. I just had to play it. Oh my lads. Boy, I'm going to tell you something. That debate, I don't know if I really don't know. Throughout the world, I just want to let you know that was not the standard level of debate in which we conduct how we choose our president. I'm gonna be one of the individuals to simply say that I was scared. I'm scared. I'm scared for democracy. I'm scared for what's going on because, see, President Biden seemed like he was out of it. It didn't seem like he was, cognitive enough to attack all the lies in which Donald Trump has spewed. I mean, the two-time impeached, convicted, disgraced, former president, first president of the United States to be convicted, loser, lied. And Biden didn't seize the moment. Most would look at him and say, you know what? Hey, guess what? It was, he's got an issue. He's got a memory issue. He can't think and speak at the same time. And that's the way it looked. It looked like he had a level of dementia. But let me just throw this out there as a caveat. Could it have been that he was under information overload? Could it be that his campaign and the people who prepped him for this debate did him in service by trying to prep him so hard that he was trying to find the answers to what Trump was spewing, the lies he was spewing? That's what I believe. But at the same time, it made me nervous about our democracy. You couldn't make this up if you wanted to. President Joe Biden didn't seem like he was all there. And of course, Donald J. Trump, 2-time loser, 3-time loser, was doing his normal thing, which is lying. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some of this debate, and it's basically the key moments of the debate. That's what I'm going to play, and we'll talk a little bit more of it on the other side. Here we go.
You would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in as good a shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced them.
President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's it. Anyway, just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf with you if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
So that's Jesus. That's, I need a drink to listen to that shit. That's one of the key points that I want to cover. All right. So why is President Joe Biden having a conversation about golf and can barely get it out? Why? And why is Trump talking about cognitive tests? Anybody can take a cognitive test. And those who can take those cognitive tests, if you fail, that means that you have you're facing a level of medical condition in which you're going to need the treatment. I'm confident to say I believe that President Joe Biden can pass a cognitive test. I don't know if anyone has actually seen a cognitive test, but look online, look it up, and you'll see it, and then you'll be like, wow. I mean, this is a guy who Trump is oh my Lanta. Trump is an idiot. Okay, he's a loser. He's a jackass. He's an idiot. He's not talking about anything. And the thing about it in this first part of this is that President Joe Biden bit into it while dealing with what I call information overload. That's what I believe. I mean, it gets worse. And those of you around the world who haven't listened to this, I'm just playing key points to cover.
After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. Your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again, because right now it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things. All of the death caused at the border, telling the Ukrainian people that we're going to want $1 billion or you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo. That we're not going to do anything. We're not going to give you $1 billion unless you change your prosecutor having to do with the son. This man is a criminal. This man, you're lucky. You're lucky. I did nothing wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting. I did nothing wrong.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, I'm coming right to you, sir. You want to respond? Go ahead. I'll give you a minute to respond.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong. It's simply wrong. No president's ever spoken like that before. No president in our history has spoken like that before. Number three, the crimes that you are still charged with, and think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant? I mean, what are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
Morals of an alley cat. And that is the most coherent conversation that President Joe Biden had during this debate, as far as I'm concerned. So let's look at the facts. The facts is one, President Joe Biden did not cause a problem at the border. He turned around and signed an executive order about the border. You know, the same border bill that Donald Trump forced his minions to vote against in the House to destroy it. And then some members of the Senate to do the same thing. It was all set to pass. This was the most comprehensive border bill in American history, better than Ronald Reagan's. And yet, now he wants to talk about failed border policies. Lindsey Graham running his nut rest talking about failed border policies. I mean, come on, man. Really? I mean, this is not, I'm not speaking hyperbole here. Okay? And the problem that I have is that President Biden didn't attack that. President Biden didn't say anything about the House Republicans who's got nothing done. He didn't attack the fact that when he said it's a failed policy, it's a failed administration, the worst president in the United States history, blah, 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 blah. And, oh, by the way, your son was convicted and you may be convicted. No, he will not be convicted. Yes, his son was convicted. and his DOJ had nothing to do with the presidency. That's separation. This is why we have this. SCOTUS, far right. You know, separation of powers. And so when you look at this in a little bubble, President Joe Biden did not attack as he should have. He did not call on the carpet as he should have. His campaign managers and informationalists failed him by providing him too much information. You know, it's like that time back in college where you go to write a story or you have to write an essay and you source information from here, there, and you grab all this information because you want to have the best damn essay delivered to the professor or instructor or whatever you want to call them in university history. And then when you go to put pen to paper, you notice within yourself that you don't know where to begin. That's information overload. And I believe that is what he had. He did not attack border policy or the judicial policies. He did not use that minute to dive into the rhetoric. He didn't do it. Here's more.
As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, the president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine. A lot of people are dead right now, much more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals, like I fired the one that you mentioned, and so he's got no love lost, but he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan. When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
I've never heard so much malarkey in my whole life. Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it. Recently, not when he was president. They attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place, number one. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where, if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want, and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did.
This is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war, and we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened.
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people. And he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire. not just a piece. He wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants. And then you think he'll stop there? Do you think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What do you think happens to those NATO countries? And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he says and walks away, and by the way, all that money we give Ukraine are from weapons we make here in the United States. We give them the weapons, not the money at this point.
So there you go. Now, he did make points, but as far as I'm concerned, he didn't make the right points. Okay? The first question I have for him is, and excuse me for saying this, you know I keep it real and keep it raw, and I haven't did this all show, so I'm going to do it now. My first question is why in the fuck are you talking about another motherfucker's dreams with the enemy? That's just like a motherfucker robs my house. He robs my house. And then I go to his house and I sit down at his house and ask him, so what did you dream about? That's it. And as far as the weapons, he should have just came straight out and said, first of all, we did give money to Ukraine, but now the money that we would have given to Ukraine, we're using that money to send weapons and planes over to Ukraine, along with the rest of our allied nations. You know, Article 5, attack one, attack all, but Ukraine is not part of that. And not only that, he should have just said that also creates jobs in the United States. Somebody else's war, which should not be happening, is creating jobs in the United States. Not to mention, why are you talking to Russia about the United States and what our intent is? And, and oh, by the way, what the fuck you dreaming about? We'll dive more back into this after this message.
Join Right, Left, and Center Supporters Club and become part of our community by going to www.speaker.com and select for supporters and receive exclusive content and live shows. Join Will Jackson on Speaker.com every week for real and raw talk.
You're listening to Left, Right, and Center, your audio guide to help you understand the week's news, the world, and how America shapes it. Now, back to your host, Will Jackson.
So, just a footnote here. I just want to let everybody know your request for Uncle Joe has been granted. Uncle Joe will be a special guest this weekend, and we'll chop it up. And we're gonna talk about, just to let you know, we're gonna talk about crime, imprisonment, and how you recover from your mistakes in life. So it's going to be a great episode. And moving forward, we're going to, for our subscribers, we're going to do special content that will feature Uncle Joe. So, and live shows. So if you want to be a part of that, just go to www.speaker.com, create an account. You can create a free account, whatever. Search for Left, Right, and Center, and then become a member. It's only like, I think, $2.99 a month. But yeah, you're going to get some great stuff coming out of there. Okay, so with that said, let's dive back into this and let me chop it up some more. So this will be the third point of this debate.
7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion. Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I supported Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. First time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
So that means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
That is simply not true. The Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period. Period, period.
As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion bill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives. Everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected.
It's been a terrible thing, what you've done. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that's this idea that they're all against it is just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor, and have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help. The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states.
And so, Biden dropped the mic on that one. I mean, he just laid it out. Okay. Trump turns around and he tries to backtrack. Everything Trump just said didn't come close to what he was talking about. And when it was sent back to the states, Roe v. Wade, a lot of states, like the state of Ohio, which is a conservative state, shot it down. Basically said, no, we're not doing that. Abortion is legal in the state of Ohio now. So if abortion is legal in the state of Ohio now, because of the efforts of the Ohioan citizens, that says a lot about the folks that are down in Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, and Florida, South Carolina, Tennessee. It says a lot about these states and their leaders. And it says a lot about majority of the people in that state. We cannot allow this crap to continue because it just doesn't make any sense. A woman, first of all, here's my rub. And I keep it real, I keep it raw, but here's my rub. My rub is this. Why is it that it's like 99% of all white males above the age of 40 who has no medical degree in this and don't seem to understand. And then it's the judicial judges, federal judges, white males who are making these decisions for women throughout the United States and have no medical degree and making these laws and enforcing these laws. Have you ever heard the term stay in your lane? These cats don't know how to stay in their damn lane. Oh my Atlanta, can you believe this? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. And it shouldn't make sense to the American people. It shouldn't make, I don't care if you are Republican or Democrat, progressive, independent. I don't care if you're pro-life, pro-choice because, pro-life because you don't matter. Because you're on the extreme side. Pro-choice, you know what? That's where you need to be. Because here's the thing. No man has the right to tell a woman what to do with her body. Think about this. Many a years, and it's even depicted in the Westerns. When you look at a Western movie, every town has a brothel. And every brothel has women in which they pay for sex for half of a bit. People pay sex for half of a bit. I mean, that's just like step and fetch for black folk. Every black person that was in a Western was carrying a pail of water and, saying yes. So I hope you get my point there. Let's move on to one last point.
We had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now. All terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere. All over the world, they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president.
All right, so doesn't he sound like a fucking 3-year-old? Doesn't he sound like a fucking 3-year-old that someone took his lollipop? I'm dead serious. I mean, first of all, the border was a mess when President Joe Biden came into effect. In fact, children were caged. I mean, not caged, but, locked up, away from their parents. Parents were deported. Children were left here. It was just a total mess. Now, I've been a conservative to this piece here. My whole deal is this, is that folks who are coming into the United States illegally, we need a stronger border policy. Folks who are coming to the United States from South America, through North America, to come to the United States or go to Canada or wherever they want to go, they need to do the right things. They need to do the right paperwork. I get it. And Mexico has actually stepped up and started, and this is why there's like a level of migrants who are coming to the U.S. because Mexico has stepped up and started doing their part by screening as they come in from Colombia and all the other countries down there. So the bottom line is this. What I'm concerned with is is that our borders resources, the resources from these different migrants, is weighing in on our economy in a negative way. I don't want to sound funny, and I'm not an individual who points out racial stuff in a certain light to where it becomes radical. So I'm going to try to clean this up just a little bit. And this came to light when I ran across. I was in a store, and I ran across a old buddy of mine, and we were talking politics, and we were talking about the border and how he lost his job. Okay, so he lost his job for whatever reason. I don't know, didn't ask. And so he doesn't have any money he's trying to get unemployment. His unemployment is getting denied. And so he has a family, he has a wife and 2 kids. And the wife is working part-time. They need food. Food is expensive. And he applied for public assistance for that SNAP program in the state of Ohio, where you get food assistance and daycare assistance and all other stuff. Well, he was denied. The first time he was denied, they said he didn't have all the paperwork in on time. It's a great reason. Give nobody a call and say, hey, we really want to help you. You need to turn this in, whatever. Anyway, so then he ended up going to a major grocery store. I'm not going to say the name. And so there were 2 migrants that were standing in the meat section, and the one woman picks up the 2 steaks. He said they were big steaks, and they were like $45 or $47 for both steaks. And the woman that was with her turned around and said, hey, that's expensive. And the woman who had the steaks turned around and looked at her and said, this is free. This is not my money. And here there's an American citizen who can't get SNAP for his kids. Then you have sanctuary cities. Okay? Yes, they're being drained. I've said it plenty of times, but these sanctuary cities were being overran because folks in Texas and, government officials in Texas and Florida thought it was real funny to send these migrant folks to sanctuary cities, whether it be New York, whether it be Seattle, or whether it be Chicago, any major city. They're sending them there. And these folks are getting set up with SNAP. And these folks are taking advantage of not only the resources. And oh, by the way, in the debate, when you heard Trump say that President Biden's putting these migrant workers or these migrant folks in 5-star hotels, that's a lie. That's a lie. And I'm kind of pissed off at Biden for not even diving into that. Here's more.
Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in
Thank
caravans.
you, President Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed 3, under his administration, killed an Al-Qaeda person come in his administration, killed 3 American soldiers, killed 3 American soldiers. That's the only terrorist that I'm not saying that no terrorist ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people, that's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating, he's lying.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world, and it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying, and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one.
And there you have it. Those are my points. And President Biden didn't attack. First of all, Trump didn't answer the question. That's 1. 2, Trump was part of that border deal that just screwed everything up. And oh, by the way, what happened to the wall that was supposed to be built that Mexico was going to pay for? He said that. You know, just like in the debate, he said he didn't have sex with Stormy Daniels, but yet that was part of that was part of a trial in which he was convicted for paying her. And this coming from a rapist. Imagine that. We'll talk a little bit more about Stormy Daniels right after this.
Join Right, Left, and Center Supporters Club and become part of our community by going to www.speaker.com and select for supporters and receive exclusive content and live shows. Join Will Jackson on Speaker.com every week for real and raw talk.
Have you been looking for a podcast that takes you beyond the headlines? A show that challenges you. A show that's real, raw, and unapologetic. Then you've found your new home. Right, Left, and Center. Right, Left, and Center. News, the environment, immigration, politics, the criminal justice system, and everything in between. Join Will Jackson every week, your personal guide to understand the week's news, the world, and how America shapes it. Listen everywhere podcasts are available.
Here come the drums.
All right. Yeah. All right.
Here come the drums.
All right. Yeah. All right.
They see your face on an 8-track, getting it good to the woods. So the people give you some of that reaction to the facts that I kick in a stick. Get a stay around, point to the joint, put the Buddha down. Don't get to the roots and giving it up. So turn it loose. Then again, I got a story that's harder than a hardcore course of the Holocaust. I'm talking about the what's still going on. I know where from that dumb Billy dumb from the base motherland. The place of the drum, invaded by the whack to the whack. It fooled the black, it left us faded. King and Chief probably had a big beef because I'm back now. I grit my teeth. So here's a song to the storm, but the shape of a snake and a smile that went along with that.
Get trusted.
No.
Get trusted. Get trusted.
Wicked rhymes like a fortune teller, cause the wickedness dumb byjack where everybody at the body gets sold for the liquor in the gold. Smacked in the back for the other man to match.
What? Wicked man. That man.
hanging the rope. Red, red, white, and blue. Jack and his crew, the guys authorized to beat down for the Browns. Man to the man, each one sword, teach one point to terrorize sisters and every brother one love. Who said it? I know who Beanie sang it. The hater taught hate, that's why we gang banging. Beware of the hand when it's coming from the left. I ain't tripping, just watch your step. Can't trust it. Can't trust it. No. Can't trust it. 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 And I judge everyone, one by the one. Look, here come the judge. Watch, here he come now. No sense to me, Judge. I ain't did nothing to nobody. I can only guess what's happening. Years ago, we would have been a ship's captain, getting me bruised on the cruise. Well, I got to lose, lost all contact, got me laying on my back, doing in my own leftover. When I roll over on somebody else. 90 damn days on the slave ship, kind of falling off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 100 at a time. Blood in the wood and it's mine. I'm choking on spit, feeling pain like my brain being changed. Still gotta give it what I got. It's hot in the day, it's cold in the night. But I try to survive. I pray to God to stay alive, my attitude balls inside. If that ain't it, you think I ever quit? Still I pray to get my hands around the neck of the man with the whip. 3 months past the brand of label on my ass. To signify I'm on. I'm on the microphone saying 50, 55. How I'm living, we've been living here. Living ain't the word I've been given. Haven't got classifieds in the have-nots. Fighting the halves cause it's all about money. When it comes on again, mean I'm getting mine. Here I am, turn it over, Sam. 427 to the year, do you understand? That's why I'm hard for the fuck another land. Once again, bass in your face, not an 8-track, getting it good to the wood. So the people give you some of that reacting to the facts that I kick. And it's sick, and it's stay around, point to the joint, put the Buddha down. Go and get to the roots, and giving it up. So turn it loose. Then again, I got a story that's harder than a hardcore cross of the Holocaust. I'm talking about the what's still going on. I know where I'm from, not dumb, did it come from the base of the land, the place of the drum, invaded by the whack, kitty whack, it fooled the black, it left us faded. King and Chief probably had a big beef. Because of that, now I get my teeth. So here's a song to the strong, about the shake of the state, and a smile went along with that. Can't trust it. So watch your step, boy. Can't trust it. Watch your step, boy. Can't trust it. On the step, boy. Can't trust it. We ain't playing, boy. Can't trust it. That's right, boy. We the men. Can't trust it. We the men. You just can't trust it. No, can't trust it. Hey, yo, Chuck Devil. Can't trust it. Fucking give me. Can't trust it. Watch your step. Can't trust it. Watch your step. Can't trust it. Watch your step, boy. Can't trust it. Like that. Can't trust it. Can't trust it. It's like that. Can't trust it. Hold on. You know what I'm saying? Can't trust it. Wait a minute. Can't trust it. Wait a minute. You just business. Can't trust it. Watch your step, boy. Can't trust it. Boy. Can't trust it. We got the step, boy. Can't trust it.
Join Right, Left, and Center Supporters Club and become part of our community by going to www.speaker.com and select for supporters and receive exclusive content and live shows. Join Will Jackson on Speaker.com every week for real and raw talk.
You're listening to Left, Right, and Center, your audio guide to help you understand the week's news, the world, and how America shapes it. Now, back to your host, Will Jackson.
You hanging in there with me? So, yeah, this is good. Hold on. Oh, my lantern. That's good. All right, so just a reminder, this Saturday I'm going to have Uncle Joe on. We're going to try to, and I had to beg, borrow, steal to get him. He's a very busy man. And I got a lot of requests about Uncle Joe, so we're going to do Uncle Joe. And also, I want to send a shout out to my cousin, Justina, who's in Atlanta, and her fiance, who I got to meet over FaceTime. Hopefully I'll get down to Atlanta and hang out with you, Justina. And, congratulations. And I'm happy for the both of you. Final thing is on this, we're going to do some live shows, but it's going to be exclusive content. And how do you be a part of a live show? How do you get a chance to listen to a live show of your favorite host and his guests? Well, all you need to do is go to www.speaker.com and then select for club members. Now, I think it's only like $3, $2.99 a month. But once again, you'll get live shows, exclusive content, and much, much more. So more on that information as it comes in. Now, I'm going to. I really want to I'm just going to wrap this up by saying this, and I'm gonna go ham on this whole situation. So I'm gonna need to drink a little bit. So this is my final thoughts on this in final words. The bottom line is our democracy is at stake. You have governors who met with the president, either Skype or in person, and they're coming out like Wes Moore from the governor of the great state of Maryland, who delivered his undying support, along with many other Republicans and Democrat governors or Republicans who are against Trump and his antics, and Democratic governors. Excuse me. And so with that said, you know, it's very important that we keep this cat out of office. He's a menace to society. He's a security risk. Under no presidential act, Article 2, should any former president or president of these great United States be in a position where they were saying under official duties that they held on to classified material. Now, I just want to roll back a little bit and really just say this. See, even though the Supreme Court has set us back another 50 years outside of Roe versus Wade, this radical court did leave an opening for prosecutors to actually deal with this, let's say, in the District of Columbia. So at the end of the day, the District of Columbia Judge Chutkan, she can come back and she's going to look at this and review this and say, okay, so this was under Presidential Act. This is not under Presidential Act. The idea that you can have classified information that no other president who loses their security clearance can have is remarkable. To say that under official acts, you caused the January 6th riots at the Capitol is unfounded. It's ridiculous. It's un-American. I don't get it where we feel that we have to pay the price for ignorance. This is why this election is very, very, very important. Now, I get it. Biden had off night, okay? But he was information overload. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not a Biden fan. Everybody knows that. Definitely not a Trump fan, as many of you know. But at the same time, what I am is an American who understands the level of democracy that's needed. A simple man in life who feels that every working American and every veteran deserves and should be afforded every right. And it should not be in question. This democracy is the pinnacle, and it's going to be the test. It's going to be the litmus test Because see, if we reelect, or if reelected and back in the White House, the 2-time orange disgrace, convicted felon, known rapist, tax dodger, etc., loser, gets back in office, there's going to be a true retribution. Retribution, his level of retribution, what he described in the debate, has nothing to do with success. How do you have retribution on success? Yeah, and you fuckers are going to vote for him? I'm just saying. There is no retribution on success. How do you retribute success? That's where I'm trying to get. The other piece to this, he has said he's going to do, and he was quoted, he's going to do what the Biden administration and Biden's DOJ has done to him. Okay, first of all, the Biden administration didn't do anything to him. He's done it to himself. Second of all, federal representatives and federal courts has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with state criminal charges. Do I think Trump should go to jail? Yes. I think his monkey ass should go to jail. Why? Because if you're a poor white person or a poor black person, and I guarantee you if you're not in the most favorable neighborhoods or come from the most favorable backgrounds, you're going to jail. You probably end up doing a year, get 3 years probation, or do 2 years and do 2 years probation. Either or, no matter which way you look at it, you're going to jail. Even first-time offenders. I mean, this is what I don't get. And as far as, and oh, by the way, before I forget, if you have not watched Rachel Meadows, one-on-one with Stormy Daniels, you need to go look at it. This woman is a very intelligent, well-spoken individual. I'm not lying. This woman is smart. Don't allow her profession to prevent you from looking at a woman who was taken advantage of. Yes, she wanted something, but not like that. And when you're a female and you're out there in this world struggling, trying to make it and do the things you need to do, don't start judging this woman until you actually put yourself in her shoes. And I'm confident after listening to her and her conviction, watch Stormy on Peacock, watch it, you will really see what is going on. See, if you got a bunch of people saying the same thing that don't conversate with each other every day, it's true. I'm sorry. It's true. It's true. And that's where we are with Trump. Here's my final words. The lesser of two evils at this point is Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Should President Joe Biden drop out of the race? I say no. I just believe that he had information overload, and I want all my listeners in the United States to understand this and support the Biden campaign. Trump, he's a racist. He's an imperialist. He wants to be a king. He's a failed show host on Apprentice. He's bankrupt. He lived off his daddy's money. He didn't make that money. The list goes on and on. He's adulterous. He's a rapist. He's a service dodger. He don't like veterans. He believes that basically that the court should decide when a woman should need medical attention. for her pregnancy. And oh, by the way, none of them are doctors. The Federalist Society is a joke. Those individuals who are realists to the Constitution doesn't seem to understand it, which is the far right Republicans. The best way to end all this mess is, 1, reelect Joe Biden. 2, the House and the Senate has a overwhelmingly victory and just like stack the House and the Senate of Democrats. And those Republicans who have that, not just a conservative view, but a democratic view that understands what needs to take place. Then I say, make Roe versus Wade a law and have the president sign it. Then hold impeachment hearings on the 6 justices. Kick all far-right Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lindsey Graham, and all these knuckleheads out there, Lauren Boebert, push them to the side, kick them off committees, and just make it where they just not doing anything for their constituents, forcing their constituents to vote them out of office. This is how we defeat it all. This is how we fight the power. This is how we win for democracy. We should not allow the courts to decide the fate of Donald Trump. The fate of Donald Trump has already been decided by himself. The fate of Donald Trump will be decided by the United States of American citizens and the electors, because we're going to fight for it. Until next time, knuckleheads.
Yet our best trained, best educated, best equipped, best prepared troops refuse to fight. Matter of fact, it's safe to say that they would rather switch than fight.
Power. I'm amped. Most of my heroes don't appear in no stamp. Sample look back, you looking, find nothing but rednecks for 400 years if you check. Don't worry, be happy was a #1 jam. Damn if I said you can slap me right here. Get it? Let's get this party started right. Right on. Come on. What we got to say? Power to the people, no delay. Make everybody see. In order to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power. We got to fight the powers that be. What we got to say? Fight the power. What we got to say? Fight the power. Come on. What we got to say? Fight the power. What we got to say? Fight the power. Come on.
Yo, check this out, man. Okay, talk to me about the future of Public Enemy.
You've been listening to Right, Left, and Center. Real and raw talk about the week's news, the world, and how America shapes it. From Republicans to Democrats to progressives. We cover it all. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on Facebook. And for questions and comments, send your email to leftrc22@gmail.com. See you next time on Right, Left, and Center.